You know, it's strange. Barely 5 books into this series already. An all-time favorite of mine. Malazan, baby. Let's talk about it.
Oh, still we ride, fight and die, wayward path, far beyond the pale. We are lost, marching on, heavy hearts, longing for those lands we once called home.
I just got done watching some absolutely hilarious shit, and it's been absolutely fun. But anyways, let's get all serious. Malazan, baby. This series, 5 books in, 5 book mark, ready to just get my thoughts out there because I'm an unoriginal fuck. Yeah. So Malazan, I was reading this long before this like resurgence happened. Cause I'm gonna be honest, I never heard anything about Malazan. I just saw it as a recommendation essentially for like Berserk type stuff, and I was like, you know what, I'm looking for something that's like Berserk. You know, I also started reading, obviously R. Scott Baker, who is not Backer, one of my all-time Backer. I'm not sure. Either way, one of my favorites authors of all time, and guess who's on one of the back covers here? Guess who's one of the people who actually gave their word of absolute respect and love for this? Fucking Steven Erikson. Now, I obviously love the Second Apocalypse. Second Apocalypse. Anyone who knows me knows I fucking love that series. So Malazan was right up my alley with Erikson's, appreciation of it, as well as, Backer himself being appreciation of as well of Malazan. And I can see why both like each other's art, both each other's novels. They're fucking amazing. Both of them are just absolutely brilliant. Absolutely well-crafted worlds with amazing characters and just moments to pull my strings. There's a lot down too, like even with, both obviously have their downs. I think the Second Apocalypse's first book for the Aspect Emperor is pretty slow. That's not saved until the ending. And Erikson, I think, as well, kind of had that issue a bit, to where which the rest of the first portion was horribly slow. I don't like Midnight Tides. I really don't like Midnight Tides. I don't. But it still made me cry. That should be proof enough of just how fucking good of an writer Erikson is. I don't give a shit about anyone in Midnight Tides. And I still fucking shed some manly tears for fucking Troll. Everything he went through. And as the warning went, I'm spoiling everything. This is just rambling bullshit, just giving my overall thoughts on Malazan. If you want my quick snap, fucking let's get this over done real quick with. This series is Kino shit. Fucking Giga Chad tier fantasy. Does it beat out the Second Apocalypse for me? Probably not. It probably won't. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I need to buy the fucking other Esama books. I haven't read those. I kind of want to. I also want to read those little fun comedy ones because, I should really think the comedy Malazan's pretty fucking funny. From the dry humor to the absolute fucking absurd shit. It's all fucking hilarious as shit. If you don't think Krupp and Puss are the funniest things in fiction, you don't have a sense of comedy. Good on you, Erikson. Sorry, Canavan. So then, let's do this. Let's do this in order. So I didn't know anything about Malazan, and honestly, Guardians of the Moon, I think doesn't really establish really how well the series is going to be for the rest of it, because by that I mean how fucking dark it can get. Because trust me, I wasn't prepared what fucking happens in Deadhouse Gates. I wasn't fucking prepared. You think I would be. You think I would do my research, but no, I didn't. I was just like, grim, high epic fantasy, everything like that type. Obviously it's gonna be fucking, pretty chill. And this one, it gave me the impression like, yeah, it could be dark. It has some bleak shit going on, but it's not necessarily like, fucking like mind-blowingly dark. First, Guardians of the Moon. I have Guardians of the Moon still rated very high. Guardians of the Moon is one of my fucking favorites so far in the series. I loved the interaction with the Bridge Burners. I fucking loved Race. Like, badass fucking entrance. 3 dragons at once. How the, wow. It was like some Aztec god rising from the earth and it was the most metal shit ever. And fucking Adam and Rake fighting a demon after transforming into a fucking dragon, fucking black Shenron with like white fur mane, glowing eyes and shit. That shit was metal. Fuck, I want to draw that. I don't think I would do it justice, so I'm not even gonna try. But that shit was metal as fuck. That's the Demon Lord. It's just like, what the fuck? And then you got the shit with the Azathoth. I don't know what the fuck that was. I love fucking one of the main characters is named Whiskey Jack. What the fuck is named Whiskey Jack? What a fucking Chad to be named Whiskey Jack. Perrin's fucking great. I love Perrin so fucking much. I was just, the end of the novel, just fucking tears across my eyes when he's just sort of had this reflection of dying and realizing he lost Tatterstill, and then he gets the voice in his head, and it's just like, oh, my precious boy. I barely knew him for a novel, and I'm really in love with Perrin. I'm really in love with him. Tatterstill, kind of funny, kind of not. I don't know. I was on her, and at the same time when she fucking sacrificed herself, Chad, Talk didn't leave much of an impression on me. I mean, I wasn't expecting to have anything with Talk. I just thought Talk was just fucking there. He just, fucking existed and shit. So I don't really have much impression to Talk younger. Tool fucking metal as shit. Undead army with the ability to fucking just be practically immortal. Oh, fucking awesome. Anything with the undead is fucking cool shit. What else is there to fucking say on? One of the best fucking introductory novels. It's slow, methodical, it plots out everything, it's deliberate. Nothing really did feel unnecessary for me, and I'd fucking love that. And it's just, it was a great introduction to this world. I adored every aspect of it. I adored the world building, I adored the characters, I adored the comedy, the fucking action, the dream sequences, the dragon fights, so fucking cool. Such a fucking badass way. And apparently this was, originally the movie script was done by Esselma, apparently, the other co-author, and Erickson reworked it for a novel. That's apparently what happened. That's what I'm going off from the interviews done by Philip, and as well as A.P. Canavan, and as well as with stuff of the Esselma. So that was pretty interesting to learn about. And there's apparently some inconsistencies with it. Apparently there's like some stuff in here that's just like, G2E isms, like stuff that was, like bone little fucking things, microphones and everything like that, and that's just like never pops up again for some reason. And it's just one of those things. So fucking Gardens of Mood still ranks high. I fucking adored everything about it. And all this talk like, oh, it's so hard, it's difficult, compared to fucking remembering all this shit in fucking One Piece with like literally probably almost 1,000 fucking plot lines. It's pretty easy, honestly. Anime really does test, because I can't remember most names, and it's just like, okay, I'm gonna have to learn this person's name. After Gardens of the Moon, but not that difficult. Dead Owl's Gates. I didn't know it starts out with new cast of characters. I didn't know that. I didn't have a problem with it, honestly. I liked the new cast immediately. I was like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool and interesting. And I already found the introduction pretty fucking metal as shit. Like, just like a body made of flies and carpasses. I kind of wish how they looked like in the illustrated editions. I definitely do want those at some point. But apparently they cost like over $1,000, so there's going to be they're as much as a fucking car. And I'm going to be honest here. I have a job now, yes, I do have a job. And even with the amount I work, I'm not getting that much money. I can fucking spend a car on that. I have rent to pay and everything. Dead Owl's Gates. Maybe it was the case I was reading this over a couple of months and I was super fucking busy and I just couldn't dedicate enough time to actually get done reading this. But I'm gonna be honest. This first up to about 500-ish pages I was starting to get bored. I was bored for 500 pages straight. Felsen's character alone, though, was enough to actually keep me invested. I think she was a fucking fantastic character. I think she's fascinatingly well crafted. Heberick, Baldwin, though, are fucking amazing. I love Mappo and Ikariam. Kalam, I don't have much of an opinion on Kalam. I'm gonna be fucking honest. I don't think he's that great of a character. People love him. I think he's alright. I think he's too much of the typical assassin rogue thing, and I'm not usually very fond of that trope typically. It's just my tastes. No, obviously, with that not enough, if there weren't enough, the fucking violence in this is horrific. Scott Becker. Okay, let's make this clear. I have no problem in rape in media. I have no problem with violence in media. I have no problem with showcasing the most depraved shit humanity is capable of in its grim, graphic detail. Like, one of my favorite authors of all time, one of my favorite series of all time, has some of the most graphic rape scenes in fiction that you would just not believe. And I'm also a pretty huge fan of the series Crossed as well. And if I'm gonna be perfectly frank, I guess if, like, it really did catch me off guard. I'm gonna be perfectly fucking honest. I wasn't expecting any of the shit that happened to fucking happen in the series. I wasn't expecting fucking people to be choked by their intestines. It was some rape of Nanking shit that was going on, and that may have been the inspiration. I know Stephen Erickson is actually, in fact, an archaeologist. He's very familiar with history. And funny enough, this motherfucker is too. Well, interesting how that works. And interesting too, I'm also doing that shit. It's just seems a thing with everyone that has any familiarity with history just wants to explore the most depraved bullshit humans are capable of. And Deadhouse Gates is not shy of that. I think the point of Deadhouse Gates, I think, was to be sort of revealing the dark side effects of this war. Just go into this miserable detail about just how fucking depraved humans are, how just disgustingly vile, even when it could be quote-unquote justified, because I mean, like, the people who are committing these atrocities have a reason to be absolutely fucking pissed off at the Malazan Empire, because they essentially came in and conquered their people and very well did some of the most atrocities in there. They killed their gods, everything of that nature. That's what the whole point of the apocalypse is, the apocalypse cult. I think that's what they're called. And they're pretty fucking awesome. And here we get foreshadowing to two of my favorites, Karsa or Toblakai and Leoman of the Flails. Leoman's a bitch, but it's not until book 6. I'm already reading fucking Bone Hunters, by the way. This is already gonna be like tied for my favorite book already. I fucking love the Bone Hunters. Absolutely fucking well crafted. I loved it. Toblakai is fucking awesome. I fucking love Toblakai. A little bit he gets in this. Doesn't get a lot, but I think it's pretty fucking cool. Let's talk about the big show, man. Coltane. Coltane's a fucking giga chad. Coltane deserves all the fucking respect. This man, this dude's the fucking just, oh my god, he was the fucking Osen. If you don't know a kingdom, Osen's like this fucking amazingly calm, badass general in the Manga Kingdom, which is just one that, and if you don't know, he's Wang Fijin, I think it is, in Chinese history back in the unification of Qin. Coltane reminds me very much of him in that he's very calm, very collected throughout all this, and he's just so ridiculously effective at warfare, and you just are enamored of him. You never get a POV with him. You never get anything, and I'm just like, you respect him because he's just this legend that's so distant and far, and he's able to lead these people, and he almost succeeds. The fucking chain of dogs almost succeeds. Yapping, chapping, everyone's respecting him. And then he just, all this bullshit with the fucking accents. Dukier just looking at everyone just like, what a fucking waste of time and incompetency. If Coltane didn't have these idiots just slowing him down, they could get there faster. But he's still keeping his cool. He's still moving on. It's just, wow. And then just last minute, Malik fucking Rail did nothing wrong. Malik Rel, that motherfucking saw his opportunity. He saw the chance to fuck over everyone and let over, what, 10,000 soldiers, I believe it was? 10,000 strong badass motherfuckers who marched for miles. And this is one of the times I've ever actually had to look at a map. Walked miles, I fucking tell you. Look at that shit. Look how far they walked. That is the root of the chain of dogs. They walked this far. They're forced to drop their weapons and get fucking slaughtered. And the last thing one of his men does, like Coltane's men does, is shoot him down and just fucking give him a mercy against whatever it is the fucking Hound Slayers are gonna do to everyone there. And they all get crucified. And it's just, holy shit. All that. And I know people bitch, I'm gonna be fucking complaining about the fucking fact that pretty much Ascendancy is gonna be saving Coltane. But it's just like, they're all dead still. All these great men dead. And it's just, by Malagrel just fucking won in that instance. Heverick gets fucking crucified as well, and you just respect and just feel horrible for him. And it just, this novel is just fucking brutal. Heverick is as well, like, I just said Heverick, I said Medukir. Fucking hell, I'm just like, everyone's so fucking just awesome in this novel. I just, Then you got Baldwin, who gets fucking burned alive by a descended dragon that's a zombie, and that shit was metal, but it's just, oh. And even then, like, Baldwin was still kind of a piece of shit, and you still felt bad for him. Falsen's bitching and moaning the whole fucking time, but it's justified bitching and moaning because she's so fucking just callous and angry at the world. And she just feels so betrayed and used, and it's just, you feel for her. Heberick's going blind and kind of fucking insane, and his hands go fucking missing, and then he just drops a god into the fucking world, and it's just, what the shit? That shit was fucking awesome. And then it's just like, this novel doesn't fucking stop. It's just a fucking non-stop brutal fest. And then this is when we get into Memories of Ice. Everyone fucking kind of hates this one. Everyone's really kind of pissed off or meh on this one on Mike's Books Review Discord. I'm kind of meh on it. I think the criticisms of the resurrection of multiple characters is ultimately something I don't really have much of a problem with. Simply because, as Perrin has shown, resurrection is fucking terrifying. It's traumatic. Like, it's fucked with Perrin so much that he lost so many of his memories that he fell in love with Tattersail. And it's just like they had a casual sexual relationship, and it's morphed into this disturbed thing. And then we get Tattersail, and just like 3 souls in one body of a child, and the maid's getting like her life sucked away from her. And we just get this reinforcement that she's suffering and horrified. And it's just like this depressing thing. Everyone complains, but it's just like, why not the sympathy? I understand the sympathy. A lot of people say like, oh, I have the sympathy, it's just annoying. And I'm just like, well, why is it annoying? Like, is it repetitive? Of course it's gonna be fucking repetitive. She's dying. I mean, it's just the case of the intention. You get the intention, and you just don't appreciate it. Not appreciate it. You just don't really like that. You don't like how it's done, and I understand it. Sorry, I still don't do it. I have a lot of novels out there that have like a lot of intentional things, like intentionally annoying characters, and it's just like, oh no, I get the point of why they're intentionally annoying. I just want to fucking strangle them. I mean, that's just the issue there. This book is more straight lined compared to this, because this one has a person part of the Malazan Empire using an opportunity to fucking backstab a bunch of heroes. It's morally gray, and you don't know what Malacrel's doing. And it's just this horrible battle, and everything's just confused and disturbed. Everyone has a side to play, and it's just some of the most fucked up shit ever. Memories of Ice also has some of the most fucked up shit ever. The fucking Ten of Scour, Children of the Dead Sea. What the fuck was Erickson? I think he might have been reading Backer at that point. I'm not sure when Memories of Ice was released. I don't know. This is some Sarang shit. Sarang, fucking people murdering, necrophilia, murder, rape, just people being born of dead children. It's just like, what the fuck? I mean, it's just like, is this a fucking cannibal corpse? Help? This shit's metal, dude. It's fucked up. Then you got Brood. Callan and Brood. How the fuck did I not mention this motherfucker? I literally used the band Callan and Brood's music. Brood is the most metal motherfucker I've ever seen. Because this dude has a big fuck-off hammer that he can swing, and it will literally destroy the world. And that's just like, what a fucking Chad. And some of the art I've seen of him is someone that's just like the dreadlocks, the fucking hammer, the fucking massive shoulders and biceps and triceps, the pectorals. Dude looks like a fucking like Jamaican Broly. It's just like, what a Chad. And then it's just like, oh, and then just the ending. Everyone's gonna get mad at the Bridge Burners being ascending. Bridge Burners ascending. Everyone knows about it. Baldwin came back. Heberick comes back. And it's just like, everyone wants to point out, this feels cheap. And then I'm just gonna say it right now. I don't think it's really good that they came back to life. Baldwin's horribly fucking damaged and is something else entirely from what his duty was. And then with fucking Heberick, not fucking Heberick, fucking Dukier. How am I confusing names so fucking much? Dukier is just, wow. Dukier is just traumatized. He's broken. I honestly think he wishes he was dead. That's tragic. It's such a fucking tragic thing to see. This just man who wished he died with everyone else just go through that. And then you got the Bridge Burners just before that, where they're just wiped out. All the Bridge Burners are dead. Well, like, I mean, like, some are alive, like Strings, okay, Fiddler is still alive, but the Bridge Burners are basically dead. They've been wiped out fucking completely. Under the Moonspawn gaze, against the Panyan Domin. Panyan Domin are fucking sad as well, because their tragedy is just the fact that they've been forced into this life by circumstance and issues of a genocide, basically. And it's tragic because they were forced into that. And that's the tragic part. And it's just almost like, well, I understand why what happened to you is bad, but it's just like, you kind of deserve to be fucking punished for your crimes against just people in general. And just dynamics with Corlat, Whiskey Jack. I fucking kind of do miss Whiskey Jack. I thought he was a sweet guy. I liked Whiskey Jack. He felt like a handsome, welcoming grandpa. Paran's suffering throughout all of this, trying to figure out his duty, the burden of responsibility, and as well suffering from horrible depression because the woman he once loved is becoming a raging cunt now. And it's just the case he can't even kind of blame it on, well, the three resurrections, because it seems Tattersail's influence is still there. And it's just even more because he's feeling even more conflicted. And it's just, I feel for Perrin this one. A lot of people were complaining about him whining, and it's just like, well, it's justified. I don't get why people are fucking complaining about that. It's such a bizarre fucking complaint. It's like complaining about, like, oh, Rand's melodramatic. Rand Althar from Will Time's melodramatic. And it's just like, well, he's in constant pain and he's insane. What do you expect him to do? I don't know. It's just like, maybe it's just the case. Like, I get the point. I just don't appreciate it. That kind of thing, you know. I just don't like it. I don't know why I can use it appreciate it. But overall, on Memory's Eyes, honestly, I don't have a lot to say to it. I'm gonna be honest. This one I was meh on. The fights were cool. Lots of great characters. Gruntle was cool. Stony, I feel bad for. I love the bridge burners, and I was sad to see them get fucking wiped out. I really was kind of happy to hear Lid, but at the same time, I kind of do feel for him that he kind of wished he was dead. I feel like Grace was interesting. Talk, I forgot about Talk. Talk, I have no impressions on. Talk went through shit, and I wonder what he's gonna do with the Tenascauri and their redemption. Lady Envy, I seen the art for her. She looks cool. I think she's fun. I want to know what she did with her and Rake. That's pretty much it. Oh, that's right. The Kachen Chemel. Oh my god. If you don't know, maybe I should actually grab that bookmark real quick. Now, if you don't fucking know this, I'll show you it real quick. Dinosaurs are fucking awesome. I love dinosaurs. Okay, I'm gonna be fucking honest. Don't matter how fucking old you get, okay? You can expect all this shit about, oh, dinosaurs. Please, it's like a child's imagination. So childish. Fuck you. You're just pretending you don't like dinosaurs. You're in denial. Dinosaurs are the coolest fucking thing, and anyone who says otherwise is a lying bitch. Dinosaurs are fucking awesome, and the Kachen Chamel are metal as shit, alright? They are undead demon dinosaur raptors with swords for hands that built giant fucking fortresses. Like, how the fuck can you just say, oh, what, that's lame, that's so absurd? How fucking up your own ass do you have to be to just fucking say that? I'm sorry, okay? I understand we shouldn't judge people for their tastes. You know, we shouldn't do this and that. Like, honestly, people think fantasy is just like, but like, dinosaurs are fucking awesome. Then why are there not more dinosaurs in fiction? Alright, like, I can't even explain how fucking much I love dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are fucking awesome. They're awesome in everything they're in. Nothing beats dinosaurs. Doesn't matter what you say to me, they're the coolest thing ever, alright? Like, not to mention just like, oh, this world already has dragons, so it's just like, dude, are dragons like fucking like born off like dinosaurs and shit? If you don't know, one of my favorite series of all time is Goblin Slayer, and as well Warhammer. I like Warhammer and I like Goblin Slayer. And one of the things in Goblin Slayer, my favorite race in that one is the Lizardmen. The Lizardmen are fucking, can summon up spirits of dinosaurs and use it for strength, and they can also evolve into dragons, so that's really fucking cool. And then with Warhammer, you have Lovecraftian Aztec dinosaurs who ride other dinosaurs, like, oh my god. And then some fucking way, Erickson, you fucking mad lad, like, you decided to make dinosaurs with swords for hands and are also zombies. Beyond fucking metal. Why is this not like a heavy metal album? I don't get why. It's cool as shit, and I love it. Alright? There is no fucking way you can tell me it's lame. You can keep lying to yourself. They are cool as shit, and they will never stop being cool. Got it? What else can I say about that? They're awesome. They're fucking great. I love them. I think they're one of the coolest things ever written. I want a book on them, Erickson. I want an entire 3,000 page books each about dinosaurs for every single one. And I want you to write about them. Just everything about their culture and identity and history. None fucking stop. If that weren't cool enough, Erickson keeps fucking going. House of fucking Chains. Kino. This is best book. Alright? Memories of Ice, more like Memories of Meh. Dead House Gates, more like Dead House Bore. Gardens of the Mood, pretty much tied. House of Chains, my fucking favorite. I love Karsa. Karsa, everyone, if you don't like Karsa, those 200 pages are gonna be fucking boring to you. Karsa or Long, I love him. I love Karsa. Okay, I love the barbarian trope. I love everything what Erickson's doing with that trope and dissecting it and going into it. I love it. Okay, some of my favorite characters of all time are these barbaric, just very violent, and just that line, witness. The guy who was targeting alongside Karsa, I loved him too. I love anyone from Darwin to Houston. I can't remember his name. I just know I really liked him. I wish I could remember his name. It's just melding away because I'm too fucking focused on Karsa. I loved Karsa. I loved his character arc. I love his development. That 200 pages was like the quickest I read. I kid you not. I was reading like 100 pages a day because I was just that much focused on how much I love this book. And even when it wasn't focused on Karsa, like, yeah, there's kind of a dip, sort of, with the 14th Company introduction. And I think Tavori's introduction is kind of meh. But I love the 14th Company. I loved having fiddler and strings. Oh, and when he learned the bridge runners, I was crying. I was crying so fucking much. But it was great. It was such a fucking emotional moment. I love this sort of rebirth and the fact that everyone's a ragtag group of misfits and fucking idiots. I love that so much. I loved Tavore being sort of the straight man of everything. She has a lot of interest already because she's related to parents. She's related to Felsen. She has that whole thing. That's interesting to know. What else can I say about the 14th besides the fact I love them? And with that, we get into one of my favorites. Felsen, Heberick, and the rest of the Guardians of the Apocalypse. Everything that happens here just grabbed me. I love the political scheming in this, the inner camp politics. I loved hearing about Felsen and her slowly losing her sense of identity. I loved her finding out Perrin's alive. Oh, and then when Heberick comes and just tries to comfort her, just made me love it. Heberick is getting developed so much. Just this Jade Giant Dream, I loved it. And I also really do find it interesting with Carblodom and Malak-Rel's sort of thing going on there. That's very interesting. I think Carblodom is the biggest piece of shit. Bidethal, I was glad when he got his dick cut off and shoved down his throat. Choke on your pleasure, you cunt. Karsa, absolute chat. Felsen the Younger and Leoman and as well Lorix and as well as Karsa's dynamics are really interesting. I even drew a picture of them because I loved them all so much. I really did love everyone within this camp. I really did love how much of personality they had, their motivations, their reasonings. Everything about it was just fucking amazing. I loved when Karsa went off and did his own thing and meeting with Akari and Mamapo, who I also really like. I didn't mention them, but Akari and Mamapo really did make me cry back in Dead House Gates. And it's just building and building. It didn't ever stop. And that ending, just that scuffle, raiding the camp, the whirlwind, Tavore and the two kids of the Coltane's group coming in with the Ototoro sword. Oh my god, and then they strike her down. Felsen dies against her sister, and she just never knows. And it's just Felsen's last thoughts were, "Why did you never love me, Tavore?" And it's just, I loved Felsen. She's one of the most tragic characters in fiction, and all I can hope is that Hood gives her a better afterlife than she had in life. That she was happy in her afterlife, and that Hood made her happy in some way. And I just felt for it. And it was heartbreaking. I was in love with Felsen's character, and I think she's one of the best in fiction. And honestly, I hope from further on, I hope Felsen stays dead. I think she does, because I never hear anything about her besides Felsen Younger, what she's going through with Croker. and Cutter as well. I really did never really mention Crocus. I think Crocus is great. I think he's a great character. I also like Absolar as well. I think Absolar and Crocus are also in here. I think as well Lastorda and Poro, I think his name is, are having really great dynamics. I really did like them and their plotline, both exploring and trying to find Felsen, as well with the dragon. I really did feel for them. I love their chemistry with each other. I think they're great, and Lastorda is easily one of my favorite characters. I think she's amazing. Everyone in this book is great. Nothing except like the introduction of 14th bored me, and that was quickly went away. Everything about this book was just non-stop greatness. The action, the comedy, the loving, the misery, everything was great. Karsa Orlog is a badass character who's also a huge piece of shit, which is great for gray morality, which I am just a fucking sucker for. I think Karsa is one of the greatest characters in fiction. He's great. He's gonna sit right alongside Raoul and Randall Thor and Snyder Urskilta and Kalhes Anasarimbor and every other one of my favorite characters in fiction. Just absolutely well done, Erickson. Great job. And this is all just a streak of positivity up until Midnight Tides. I don't have a lot to say about Midnight Tides. I'll be frank, I thought it was kind of boring. I wasn't really digging with this sort of southern gothic feel, and this is saying a lot for me because I really do like The Sound of the Fury by William Faulkner quite a bit, but just the low scale. Actually, I should mention though, there was quite honestly quite a bit of allegory with my own personal heritage. Now, beyond just my Aztec descendancy from my family, I'm also part Native American. I have Native American blood in me. I was shocker there. I do see a lot of similarities between the Confederation of the Five Tribes as well, from back from the Alcoholan days. Back in there, I really see similarities, so I really did appreciate that. I do like sort of the naming scheme. I enjoyed the world building. I enjoyed the lore. Everything was presented here. The characters were funny, and there was like sort of a heist element that was there. I was bored. I wasn't clicking with much of the characters. Troll is a fan favorite. I don't get why. His personality is very bland to me, and even then, I like stoic characters, but he was just nothing. I still cried when he lost, I think it was Ifrito or Rushol. I just call him Man the Golden Coin. Or I just call him Golden Coin, honestly, because I can't remember his name. I just felt really bad for him. That shit where he came back to life when he was just like covered with coins was fucking brutal. The ending fight with the battle of the Five Confederation and the Five Tribes, as it's called, is fucking intense, and it's honestly heartbreaking to see. The stuff with the dragons were pretty cool. The stuff with the lore and the history and the nameless ones was pretty interesting to figure out about, and how I really analyze and discuss that. But other than that, I didn't really click with anything in Midnight Tides. And honestly, I was probably expecting a bit too much from it, potentially, because this is a lot of people's favorite book. And at the same time, when I actually get discussion, I hear a lot of people say it's the worst book. It's one of their least favorites. That it's a slow burn. And it's just like, well, I don't think the slow burn really made up for the ending. Maybe it was my lack of connection, or... Because here's the thing. I don't need to relate to a character. I don't need to like a character. I don't even need to actually have any interest in a character for me to appreciate them. I just didn't like anyone in this. I don't get why, because I'm usually fine with slow burns, but it just wasn't worth the catharsis I received at the end. I don't even really find anyone necessarily... Everyone was, I guess, trying to be like, well, I guess was the issue, typically. There are some interesting elements I found, but I don't really have much to say about this. There was just meh. I liked some of the characters, I didn't like them, and there's not much I can say. But this was the only one, when I look back at it, this is the only one I'm still meh on, beyond just Memories of Ice. Now, if you guys really do want to know my rankings so far, let's see. House of Chains, Gardens of the Moon, and potentially Bone Hunters when I get this done, because I'm 300 pages into this. 400 actually. These three are tied for my favorites. Everything else is just meh. The only one I have at the bottom is Midnight Tides. I don't like anything in Midnight Tides. It's the fucking most boring book. I know Hope's probably gonna be watching this. I'm not sure if Hope's gonna watch it. Hope on, or as he goes by now, Mark Schulge. Hi Hope, as we call him there, because he lost Hope because of fucking Baker. Hello, Bake. And I'm just gonna tell him, I don't give a shit. I did not like it. That's just my thoughts real quick there. Dead Hellgates and Memory of Ice are in the same category with me. They're pretty meh so far. I don't have much thoughts on them, honestly. I'm gonna reread them while I'm doing everything else. While I'm doing my reread of the Second Apocalypse as well, get an idea of how I feel about them. Because immediately, I feel like I definitely didn't appreciate Memories of Ice as much as I should have. Because look at how fucking tiny this font is. Look at how tiny it is. And I'm gonna go back. We're gonna go back to House of Chains. Look at how big the font is there. What the fuck happened? Why is the font so tiny? Is it because it's so fucking big? Is that the issue? I don't get it. But yeah, my overall thoughts. I thought it was a lot more negative on Malazan as a whole. Honestly, when I did this video, I thought I was gonna be so much more negative. That I was gonna have a lot to say that was like controversial. But there's not a lot that I have said that was necessarily negative. I loved all the characters with the exception of like the ones in Midnight Tides, and even then, it's just an indifference rather than like a disdain or dislike. I guess it's one of my favorites, right? As I said, even the one where I think it's the worst, and it's definitely the worst for me. I'm not fucking gonna say anything else. I think this series is one of the greatest ever written already. I'm in love with this series. Now, apparently, with these ones over here, with these bad boys over here, those are apparently awful. Now, I don't know the truth about that. I'm gonna be perfectly frank here. I'm not gonna trust anyone's opinions on Malazan. I'm not gonna trust anyone's thoughts on Malazan, beyond just people who are reading it alongside me, or anyone who wants to open up a discussion. I'm honestly just gonna be coming to an understanding of the fact that I don't agree with anything anyone has to say. My thoughts are too much of a fucking singularity that I just can't really necessarily agree with like these general broad claims about making of a series. And I need to come up with my own thoughts. And I think that's what everyone should be doing with Malazan. Not necessarily falling into some like coercion or high mind necessarily. Just read this series, make up your own thoughts and opinions on it. Because admittedly, ranking this objectively is going to become difficult when most of it is just, how do I say this? Not reliable, because the person who's writing there's a lot of unreliable narration, which is an element I really did appreciate. I really should make a video on just how postmodernism relates towards Malazan at some point. But there's already a video out on that. However, I think I should just make a video general on postmodernism, because I think it's an idea that really much does just get sort of disregarded or just not really discussed a whole lot. I really should at some point. But overall, my thoughts on Malazan, a fucking amazing series. One of the greatest I ever read. I can see why R. Scott Baker really does love it. Now, when I do the rest of the series, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about it. Maybe it'll rank down, but I don't think there's anything that's going to be as bad as later on that's going to make me hate this series. Unless some fucking way I find book 10 of the series to be one of the worst, or there's something with the Esmond novels that make me hate it, Malazan will be forever ranked as one of my all-time favorite series, with some of the best characters I've ever read in fiction. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to be making a character rankings video later on at some point when I can find the time to do that. And when I do, I'm going to be popping up on the stream. So what can I say about Malazan? Thank you, Steven Erickson. Thank you for everyone in the Malazan community for being very nice, very appreciative. Except for those of you who have an idea of how the series should be enjoyed. But that's usually what happens with fandoms. One Piece fandom. But that's besides the point. Honestly, thank you guys for watching and sticking along for this video, because it's very rambly, it's very incoherent, and the editing takes forever. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day. This is AJP signing out, and I think I should clear it up. AJP, not my name. It's an in-joke. Not an in-joke I can say, because it'll get me banned off YouTube. See y'all later. Have a wonderful day.